for them.
What do you mean fucking do deals? Who do you think I am?
That's what I'm saying, because Grant does like the deals.
No,
for them
dude.
on the board.
He doesn't know.
I don't know anything about this shit.
You got a deal? You got a question?
Yeah. Is that what he says?
Yeah, so you're going to be like, don't ask a deal, cuz.
You got a question or you got a question?
Yeah.
About something else, not about real estate. Maybe move.
Chim chimney, chim chim chiroo.
My name's Grant Cardone. This is the Cardone Zone every day, every damn day. I'm going to show you how to get money a lot cheaper than this. Hey, get yourself in a position to sit in that chair right there. Are you the solution or are you the problem?
Yeah, well, we're talking about what does it take?
They don't know you, and they're not thinking about you. They do
forgot
know
you.
you, and they're not thinking about you.
They forgot you. My name's Grant Cardone. You are in the Cardone Zone where I wake you up, I shake you up, I punch you in the face, but mostly, I'm that good uncle.
What's happening, Grant Cardone?
Yeah, what's happening, man? You got a deal or you got a question?
Get the zoom in, Johnny. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jarrod Glandt. This is the Cardone Zone, and today the show is real estate investing with Jarrod Glandt today. Grant is on the road traveling. He's going to look at some deals in Houston right now, and he wanted me to do the show today. And I said, Grant, I don't really know a whole lot about real estate. And he said, dude, real estate made you a multi-millionaire. So I want you to go on today and I want you to talk about how you became a multi-millionaire investing in real estate. So for a lot of you folks, you're probably closer to my end of the investment criteria pool, getting started maybe, just wanting to get in maybe, than you are to Grant. So I hope that I can offer you some insights to really what I've done over the last 7 years with Grant, because the things that I did along the way got me where I'm at 100% without a doubt. And so I want to go over just a few things that I did so that if you're trying to prepare yourself to get ready, that you know what you need to be doing to set yourself up. And if you're just getting started, maybe you just started investing in real estate, maybe you just started buying your own homes that you're flipping, or maybe you just recently invested with Cardone Capital or something like that, what you need to do so that you can continue along the trajectory that I have. So it happened fast for me. I know nothing about doing all these deals. Like, that's not my thing. My thing is my thing. My thing is out here. My thing is Grant Cardone, his brand, his business, as it relates to training, both for consumers, companies, e-commerce, global licensing program. That's my deal, right? So the beautiful thing about this is you don't have to know anything about real estate to make money with it. You don't even have to have a real estate license or pass a real estate test to make a bunch of money in real estate. And so today, I'm just gonna talk about what I did along the way. Would love to get some questions from you. If you're trying to figure out where you fit into this whole real estate investing thing, you can call the show. We'll get you on live, 305-865-8668, 305-865-8668. Once I started investing with Grant, I came to work for Grant when I was 26 years old, and I started investing with him 2 years after I started. So I was 28 years old. By the time I was 30, I was a millionaire. Now, that happened because I had a kind of a format that I followed. At the time, I didn't know it was a format, but looking at it now, it looks like I have a format. So basically, the very first thing that you need to know, if you want to make big money fast in real estate, investing in real estate, is income is like your number. It's like the fuel to the car. You can't come on, Johnny. You can't get rich investing in real estate if you don't make it, if you don't have income. Like, there has to be something that will feed the moves that you're making, the investments that you're making. Grant said when we did this real estate webinar a couple weeks ago, he said, if you make $100,000 a year, it's almost impossible for you to become super rich unless you invest in real estate. And it kind of hit me because I was like, man, that like real estate investing can be such a magic vehicle for people to multiply money, but you have to have the income in the first place to even get in the game. And so for me, the very first thing that I did, and I didn't make this up, it's what Grant told me to do. He said, dude, focus on money. Like, he said, this was in 2011. He said, dude, focus on making money. Focus on getting your income as high as you possibly can, because we're coming into a window where things are gonna get really crazy. And the more money that you have, the more money that you can invest in these real estate deals, the better off you'll be. Now, if I would have had the income that I have today when I first started investing back then, I'd be worth $10 million now, maybe even more. So the thing is that you have to be focused on the income piece. And the truth is, for me, I couldn't focus on real estate while I was focusing on my income. Like, I couldn't serve two masters. Now, there are a lot of people out there that, they're flipping homes or they're doing wholesale deals, things like that. And that's great, but that requires like work. It requires like time, it requires energy, it requires education, it requires you to make mistakes along the way unless you're learning from somebody. Like, it wasn't the thing for me. I always knew that I wanted to make a bunch of money, and I always knew that the people that invest are the ones that make all the money. But for me, I was trying to figure out like, okay, where do I actually invest the money that I'm making? And so, I look at Grant. He never pushed this on me at all. I look at him and I see how successful he is, and I know that he's invests everything in real estate. So, I play in the stock market a tiny bit, basically like gambling. But the money that I put in there, like, it didn't pay me monthly. Like, I was basically just dropping my money into a stock and just kind of like watching it and hoping that it goes up. But that money that I had put in there, like, I never saw anything from it. And the beautiful thing about what I've been doing with Grant for the last 6 years is I get paid every single month. Like, I get reminded every single month when I get a check that my money's working for me, rather than putting it into the stock market and it's up and then it's down and then it's up and then it's down. And then I sell it and then I pay tax on it, and that's when I get my actual return. Like, I don't get my return until I actually sell the stock and get rid of the thing, right? So for me, it was like, okay, hey, where do I want to put my money? Do I want to put it in the stock market and ride the roller coaster, or do I want to put it in something that I see this guy making a ton of money doing, and he's getting checks every month, $1 million a month, $2 million a month, like crazy checks. So for me, it was number one, you got to have the income right, and then like you got to identify where you want to put it, right? So depending on where you're at, you could be on, hey, I need to make more money right now, or you could be like, okay, hey, what type of real estate investment do I want to get involved in? So for me, real estate was the thing, passive income was the thing, monthly checks was the thing. Future appreciation and tax benefits, all those things checked all the boxes for me. So that's the decision that I made and got sold on once I got my income right. Now, the mistake that you can make is that you can start focusing on where you're going to put money before you've even made it. Like a lot of people out there, like they've got like 10 grand or 20 grand, and that's every penny they have to their name. And they're like, how do I get into the real estate thing? Well, you can get in the real estate thing, but fortunately, now you can. But like if you only got 10 grand in the bank, you need to be focusing on your income. If you're making 50 grand a year, you need to focus on your income. You need to focus on like what investments can I make in myself to get that income level up. Because if you're like me, hopefully you're like me, and you want to get rich sooner rather than later with the least amount of risk as possible, then income is the only way that you can do that. Like it's just it. So if you're 20 years old, if you're 30 years old, if you're 40 years old, and you know that you want to make money investing in real estate, you've got to focus on your income. So for me, I was trying to get to 100K. So, because at the time, Grant had only been allowing his friends and family, like really his family at this time, there weren't any friends involved. He wanted to get his family involved. And so he was like, hey man, you should invest with me, but you need to get 100K first. Like he wanted me to go through the process of making the money and then storing it so that I could make the move. And at the time, like I didn't have another way to invest because I needed to get my income to a certain point, and then before I could finally, invest the money. It's different today with the Regulation A fund that just they're opening soft launch, whatever you want to call it, right now. But like for me, it was get the 100K in. Like that's why Grant talks about the 100K. It's an important milestone because it shows that you can earn and it shows that you can store before you can move. But if I would have had the fund set up the way that it is now and I could have invested 25K back then, I would have, right? So number one is income. Number two is you got to have these little milestones. What? Yeah. Write it on this little board here. Number one, income is key. So for me, this was 100K. Today for me, I don't know, it might be 25K. Could be different for you, but you need to go back to your income. Like you need to figure out how to get your income up into the 150, 200, 300. Grant has a rule he calls the 40% rule. When you can save 40% of what you earn, your gross income, that's when you can actually start really leveraging the money that you're making for investments. So I think the number when you really start getting the flywheel moving is 400K a year in income. So you've got to focus, number one, on income being key. Number two is you have to have a commitment that is long-term, LT, long-term, right? So for me, I knew that real estate was going to be a long-term play for me. Because when I put 100 grand in, I was getting $500 a month. So when you give up $100,000 in cash and you're getting $500 a month in, you're like, man, is having the 100,000 worth getting the 500, right? Or worth giving up the 500 a month? And for some people, it will if your income isn't right. So once your income is key, then you just need to start passing the money off, and it needs to be a commitment that you make long-term over time. Because long-term over time is how the real estate thing works. So one of the things that, even in the training business that we have, one of the things that's worked really well for me is playing games, trying to find a game in how the deals are coming in, the value of the deals, how much commission did I get paid here or there? Like I would play games. And so my pay plan when I first started with Grant was a residual pay plan. So when I sold a deal that was, $2,000 a month, I didn't make like a big windfall. I got a small little piece of that $2,000 a month, but I got paid it monthly, kind of like a real estate deal. So what happened was I started playing these games with how big I could get that recurring residual income. And so what happened for me is I started chasing that number, and it went from, $6,000 a month to $10,000 to $18,000 to $20,000 to $25,000 to $30,000 to $35,000 in recurring residual income. So for me, it was like a game. Real estate was the same game for me. That's the game that I'm playing now. I'm trading money for cash flow. That $500 check means so much to me because it's there basically forever. I mean, as long as these deals are around, as long as the deal's owned, they're going to continue to produce revenue or income, right? Like, so for me, it's like I'm trading money for cash flow, and passive cash flow for me equals freedom. Like, that's the thing that I know that like 10 years from now or 15 years from now, I'm 35 years old, 15 years, I'll be 50. At 50 years old, I want to be making $300,000 or $400,000 a month in passive income without working. Like I want to have, and when you get to that level, like in my mind, I'm like, when I get to that level, I can live off of, if you spend a lot of money, $50,000 a month is a ton of money, like to live off of. Like it's a lot. You'd be going on trips and vacations and you're driving badass cars, I mean, it's a lot of money. And you still have all of that money left over to invest. So for me, it's like, okay, hey, I got to get to this game where the cash flow gets to the point where it's just like a flywheel that works, because I can live off of a portion of my passive cash flow, and then I can invest the rest back into deals so that your net worth keeps growing, your cash flow keeps going, and all you're doing is playing a game with real estate. Now, that's not to say that I'm still not going to be working doing something else, but I'm trying to figure out a game in my head that makes this thing so freaking exciting, and it's exciting for me. $12,000 this month in passive income investments. I'm just getting started. When we get back from the break, I'm going to go into the rest of the list here.
For 30 years, I've been investing in real estate. These are large multifamily apartment complexes around the United States that are cash flow positive when we buy them. 97% of my net worth is invested in these properties because I believe in them that much. For the last 12 months, I have been working with the SEC to provide non-accredited investors the opportunity to invest alongside me. If you like the idea of investing in real estate but don't have the time to manage it, you like the idea of investing cash into real assets but don't have time to find the deals, manage the deals, fund the deals. Maybe you don't even know where to start looking. And regardless of what your decision is, let me just say to you that the best financial advice I can give anyone today is what has worked for me. Look forward to you investing with us. I look forward to you being a partner. By the way, this is not a REIT. This is a real asset. You're a partner with me in the exact asset that we're buying. Okay? Good luck investing.
Wealth Dynamics is an independent wealth creation firm. We have products and services that help you make money, keep money, and multiply money. You cannot build wealth without doing all three of these things. We save our clients 25% on debt, insurance, taxes, and investment fees, increase income by 30%, guarantee tax-free liquid savings with cash flow banking, and secure 8 to 10% fixed annual returns on your investments without Wall Street. On average, we can do this in the first 90 days of working with you. Simply schedule a free consultation with a wealth coach. Our services often cost you nothing more than what you're already spending. Go to wealthdynamics.com/contact to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, we're back. This is the Real Estate Investing Show with Grant Cardone. I'm filling in for Grant today because he's out actually looking at real estate deals. So I became a millionaire by the time I was 30. It really took 2 years for that all to kind of shake out because I was investing in real estate. Like, I'm making really good money now at my primary job, but I made the commitment 6 years ago to start investing in real estate because I knew long term it was going to provide me with the benefits that I was really looking for, which is passive income without working, right? Like, you ever had to confront the decision of like, do I work because I have to or do I work because I want to? Like, do you think about that? I think about that all the time. I don't think people inherently, I don't think they don't want to work, but I think the conditions under which they work because they either want to or because they have to, I think it has to do a lot with their happiness. I could be totally wrong. I just want to say that. I could be totally wrong. But for me, I think that people, when they work because they want to, not because they have to, like it just starts changing the way that they view things in life, you know? Like they're doing things because they want to. I hope, and for me, I want to get in that position so that I can be like an experiment. I can run like an experiment and find out if it's actually the case. Like this is such a great deal here. Like the great people, great office, great energy. It's 2 blocks from my house. Like this is like the ideal work situation, right? So I'll probably work here till I die. I don't know. So, but for me, I'm trying to get to that point where it's like, hey, passive income is so high that I'm able to live and I'm able to make massive reinvestments of that capital into new deals so that I keep growing the principal, the initial investment. So number one, income has to be key. This is exactly what I did. Number one, income has to be a key focus. It can't be a focus if you're doing 3 or 4 or 5 other different things. You know, multiple flows are good, but you got to get one flow that is just piping so hard and growing so hard that you don't have like, you're not like getting spread so thin. You're not in so many different places that none of them are working. Another mistake a lot of people make when they're young, they're trying to like do too much too fast and then they end up not being good at anything. And then no flow of income ends up paying them what it should. So number one is you got to be income focused first. You've got to get your main flow, your main income stream pumping because that is going to be the fuel that allows you to make the investments into the deals. Grant's real estate deals, real estate deal, anybody's real estate deals. Number 2, you have to be committed long-term to it because that is where the thing really starts taking that's when it starts getting big and juicy. Let me explain to you what I mean here.
Please.
So the first deal that I invested with Grant in, deal number 1, I put in $100K. That deal started paying me every single month, right? So I was getting monthly cash flow from that. Monthly cash flow. About 9 months after Grant bought this deal, he went back to the bank because the value of the property had increased. The market was improving. He ran the deal better than the person who had it before. So what he did was he went back to the bank and basically refinanced the deal with the bank and was able to pull equity out of the deal. So like 9 months in addition to the monthly cash flow, I got a check for like $28K back. So now I had, $372K technically cash in the deal, right? Now this continued to produce my monthly cash flow. Didn't change. The cash flow kept freaking pumping. We just pulled the equity out. So I took this and then I rolled it into another deal when I had enough money to. Then what happened is about 5 months ago, so then what was this? This was in 2012. 2012. So then 6 years go by. 6 years later, on this same deal that's been paying me for the last 6 years every single month, we went back and we refinanced the deal again because the property values had continued to go up over 6 years. That's why it has to be a long-term commitment for you because this is where the magic starts happening. 6 years go by, I got a check for $160K. So now I got no money in the deal. We've pulled equity out of the deal twice. and I'm still collecting monthly cash flow on that deal. I just got my check today. So now I've got no money in the deal, and I'm getting checks every month. Like, think about that. That's when I was like, dude, this is how people get rich. I said, this is the best kept secret in the world. This is how people get rich. I had no clue that 100K would pay me this. Like, no money in the deal, but I still own it. It's like, when you can get your head wrapped around that, it's like, how do I make more money faster to make all of this work quicker? I want to do this over and over and over and over again. Now every deal isn't like that, right? So, by the way, that 160K that I got, that check that I got like 5 months ago, I didn't pay any tax on it. It's a non-taxable event, right? Deal number 2 that I invested in, I gave Grant 150K because I took the 28K that I got from that deal. I packed it together with another 125K that I had, so then I made a 150K investment. This deal paid me monthly. I think this was in 2013. So this deal, this $150,000 investment, started sending me monthly cash flow checks. Still get paid on that deal every month. About a year after he bought this, I got a check back for $90K. $90,000 I got a check back because the property had increased in value and it was being run better. So the value of the deal went up, and so Grant went back to the bank and said, hey, the property's worth more now than it was when I bought it. I want to refinance the difference and refinance it at the new number, the new value, and I want to pull the equity that I have out. So on this deal right here, now I've got $60,000 of money left in the deal, and my cash flow is still pumping every single month, right? About 5 months ago, this deal right here, so what's that, 5 years? I got a check for $240,000 for that deal right there. Still get a cash flow check every month on that deal. And that $240K that I got 5 months ago, it's a non-taxable event. This is why the income thing's so important, because it allows you to feed this thing and make it happen faster. I still own these two deals, right? These two deals, I still get cash flow, same cash flow checks every single month. Third deal I invested in, this is a good example. Third deal I invested in, I put 185K in because I took that 90K from deal number 2 and I put it over here with some cash that I had made, got $185,000 in a deal in Nashville. And so that was, let's say, probably later in 2013, maybe early 2014. You get the point. Over the course of 4 years, I got 3 checks for about $214 each. $214. This is why this is important, because every deal is different. Like the two previous deals that I showed you, like those deals, they were cash flowing immediately. Now this deal, I went into this deal and Grant was like, hey, this is going to be a different type of deal than the previous 2 that you invested in. And I didn't really understand it, but I trusted him, right? Because I don't need to understand this stuff. I need to partner with somebody that does. I need to be next to somebody who does understand it. Real estate investing is not my thing, but it made me a millionaire. I don't know a whole lot about investing in real estate, but it's made me millions of dollars, okay? So over the course of 4 years, I got 3 checks for about $214 each. Now, this was because there was no preferred return, right? Like the property just was, they were doing work on it, investing a ton of money in the deal, trying to get it built back up. 4 years go by, this deal just sold, and I got $440,000 because the property had gone up in value. He sold the deal, And so my proceeds from that deal were $440,000. Now, when you sell a deal, this is a thing that I really didn't understand, right? Just like those 2 checks that I got in the previous examples, like I didn't understand why I wasn't paying tax on those, right? So I'm like, okay, I have $440K coming from these 2 deals right here. Grant says, you know what the great thing about this is? He says, there's a thing called a 1031 exchange where you can take profits from a deal when you sell it, and as long as you move it into another deal, you can defer the taxes, which means you don't pay tax on it today. Down the road, kick the can. This can go on for a long time, right? So this $440K, I'm paying no tax on it today, and it's rolling into another deal that I'll probably put more money into. So I'll probably put another 160 or 200K or something like that with this deal. So then I'm rolling in, 600K to the new deal. These are first 3 deals, right? So made about 800K this year on investments that I made 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So when I say that you have to commit to it long term, that's how the magic works. Number 1, income. Number 2, long-term commitment. If I would have stopped after the first deal, if I would have stopped after the first 100K that I invested and just like held all my money, dude, it literally would have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably millions in the long run, right? Because I have a long-term focus. And then number 3 is you got to find a way to mitigate risks. What do I mean by mitigate risk? For me, mitigating risk was looking at the types of investments that it was, looking at who I was doing it with, knowing that I'm not an expert and can't do it on my own, don't want to do it on my own. But it was like, how do I mitigate the risk so that I can keep this thing going and going and going? When we get back from the break, I'm going to start taking your phone calls, just telling you what I did. I'm not an expert, but it worked out for me. So when we get back, look forward to speaking with some of you.
That you will never, ever forget.
Chris Root of Hustle Wholesaling.
Chris is in the interesting real estate space, but he's figured out a little niche of it, flipping deals, what he calls wholetailing and wholesaling.
I want to show you how to get into real estate without making all the mistakes I have.
He actually doesn't own the real estate. What he does is he buys a contract. You don't actually buy the contract, you control the contract.
Correct.
Visit chrisroot.com to book a call right now.
Hey, what's going on? We're back. This is the Real Estate Investing Show. I've been given the blessing by Grant to come on and talk to you guys about what I did to make money investing in real estate. And one of the most important things for you to understand about this is you don't have to understand a lot. in order to make money. Like Grant doesn't even have a real estate license. People ask all the time, do you have a real estate license? He don't even have a real estate license. I know what the deals look like. I know that there's a pool there. I know this is in a good neighborhood. I know this one's in kind of an edgy neighborhood. I know that that one looks really nice. Like I'd live in there. Like I know like the aesthetic things on the surface, but I don't really know anything about negotiating these deals other than what I overhear. I don't know anything about reading the financial statements of deals to figure out like how the property's performing, how it's done in the past, how that means it's going to do in the future. So you should be encouraged, if you don't know a whole lot about real estate, that anybody can make money in it. I mean, I can make money in it. If I can do it, you can do it, believe me. So today I wanted to just share the 3 things that I did for me. Number 1 was I focused on income first. It was a priority because I knew that was going to be the fuel for everything else. Number 2 was you have to have a long-term focus for the thing to really pay off. You know, have you ever heard stories about people who invest into a company, like a startup, and then they have an opportunity to get out, like when they do the Series A round or something like that. The early investors have an opportunity to kind of cash out and get out, right? You've probably heard a lot of stories about people that got out too early and looked back and were like, dude, I would have made hundreds of millions if I would have stayed in. Now, I don't know, maybe 100 millions isn't real for you, but you know, you have to be committed to the long-term play on this. Like the way I do it in my head is I actually look at like, hey, I'm buying monthly cash flow. I remember having my money sit in the bank and being like, what do I do with it? You know, like where do I go? Do I put it in a money market account? Do I put it, like I didn't even know what to do with it. And the way that I've like programmed this real estate stuff in my head is I look at a deal as a bank. Right? Like where would my money be if it wasn't in that deal? It'd probably be in a bank somewhere, right? So the deal becomes my bank, and the cool thing about this bank is I get checks from it every month. Every month. So the longer that I have my money in that bank, the more money that I make. So it really is like, man, it's just magic. It's so cool. It's so cool that I'm not an expert in this, and I've been able to do really well with it. So number 1 is income, number 2 is commitment, and then number 3 is you got to try to find a way to do it that's as least risky as possible. So for me, if I wanted to go start flipping houses, like that would require risk. It would require risk because I have to be focused on that. I'm going to be getting calls from contractors and real estate agents and mortgage officers. Like I'm getting all these phone calls while I'm out here trying to like run a deal here. Like we're trying to grow a company here. I can't be doing that and this at the same time. So number 1, that's a huge risk, right? Like is the time it pulls away from like the main thing. Number 2 is like what education do you have in that space? Like what mistakes are you going to make? How much money could it cost you? When you're doing things on your own, you know, some people are into that. They just want to go out and learn it and figure it out on their own. I find that when I try to do things on my own that I don't have expertise in, like buying stocks, like, you know, I always sell at the wrong time. I always buy at the wrong time. I hear something and I make a move, but by then it's too late. And so it ends up costing me money. You know, so like for me, it's number 1, how much time, that's a risk. How much time does it take? Number 2, what failures could you have? How much money could it cost you? That could be a risk. Number 3 would be like what barriers to entry are there? Like if you have a little bit of money, you can flip homes. You don't even really need money at all because there's people out there that are doing it with no money down. They're partnering with people, so there's ways to do it. So the barriers to get into that space they're not like really prohibitive. The thing that I've learned, and the reason why this has made so much sense to me to continue to do over and over and over again, all my money goes in here. The reason it makes even more and more sense is because I see how hard it is to get these deals. Like these types of deals that Grant's doing, like there's probably like 25 or 30 different people in the country that can buy these deals. Like it's a very close community. People from the outside just can't come in. You know, the deal, he was looking at a deal in Miami, the bank he was going up against was like BlackRock or something like that. It was one of the biggest investment banks in the world. Like, the life insurance companies are buying these deals. It's crazy. So for me, that's like, okay, it's a good indicator because long term they know this is a good investment. It's a good indicator to me because it means that just somebody rolling in off the street can't buy this stuff. And number 3 is I don't have to put any time in it, so I don't have to take my eye off the ball here in the office. I said we'd take some callers. I think Natalie's got a few. Let's go ahead and see what we can do here. Don't ask me to work deals because I don't know how to do it. So,
Curtis in Atlanta.
Curtis, what's going on?
How you doing, Jarrod?
Good.
I have a question in regards to a real estate deal. My background is actually in multifamily. I've been doing this over 10 years. I had 10 units in New Jersey and 38 units in Ohio. That I recently liquidated everything as of September, and I've been I spent 30 plus hours with an agent trying to familiarize myself with retail investments. So I have an absolute triple net ground lease for a casual dining restaurant here in Atlanta, and it's been there over 20 years. It's been there since 1999, and that the 20-year lease has recently expired. There are 3 5-year options left.
Okay. I think his phone's cutting out. I think your phone's cutting out, bro.
There?
You there? Yeah, so look, I probably had no idea how to answer that question he was going to ask, but I think he was asking something about a retail thing and a restaurant, and for me, like that people make money doing that. Like, people make money buying storage units. A buddy of mine named Bobby, he's in Kentucky. He buys these big, massive commercial warehouses and leases them out to like railroad companies and stuff. Like so people make money in that space. People make money in office space. People make money in retail space. But for me, the thing that I always go back to is like, again, like mitigating the risk. People will always need a place to live. Like, people can eventually office out of their home. What happens if the economy tanks? Like, retail businesses get hurt. You know, what happens if you own a big a warehouse space and, you know, the company goes in a different direction and they leave and then you lost your single and only tenant? Like so for me, like I'm again, because I don't know any of this stuff, I try to simplify it down. Like, what's the fastest way to get more real estate? It's to increase my income. What's the way to make sure that I get the highest returns? Commit to it long term over a long period of time. And then, like, what type of stuff are you getting into? Are you getting into stuff that can be easily replaced, that anybody can buy, that is subject to massive swings in the economy? Like, no matter how bad things get, people will always need a place to live, right? Like, and the stuff that Grant buys, the stuff that I'm invested in, it's like $800, $1,000, $1,200 a month rents. Like, you can make 50 or 60 grand a year and live in these places. So for me, those are the things that I go through. I don't know how to answer your question if that was a good deal or not, but let's go to another caller.
All right, you got Giovanni in Texas.
Giovanni, what's happening?
Jarrod?
Yay, what's going on, man?
Okay, in Amarillo, Texas.
There's a problem with the phones. Yeah, what's going on, man? Amarillo, love that place.
And we're on the training program, the automotive training program.
This is a problem with the phones, guys, because it's doing the same thing.
Yeah, it happens when a lot of people are trying to get in.
From scratch.
Yeah.
No more callers.
Yeah. Can we try somebody else? Let's try another caller. Sorry, guys, we're having some phone issues right now.
From Buffalo.
Carlos, you there?
A lot of people trying to call in.
Yeah. Well, I hate to, with a lot of people trying to call in, I hate to cut people off. So look, you don't have to be a pro at this. You just have to have a commitment. You have to go out. You have to grind on your money. You've got to get your money right. You've got to be able to have freaking like gunpowder to put in the bullet when you get the gun and you need to use it. And so people ask me all the time, they're like, should I wait? Should I wait until this big crash or this big recession or whatever that's supposed to be coming? Should I wait until that happens and then put my money in? My answer is no. Like, no, because like I'm getting paid every month right now. I've got a long-term commitment. I'm not trying to capitalize on something that's going to take place over a year or two. I'm like, this is the thing that I'm doing with my money for the rest of my life. And because I have that long-term focus and strategy, I don't have to make decisions based on what's happening next week or next month or even next year. I can focus on where am I going to be when I'm 45 years old? 10 years from now, where am I going to be? Can I get to 100 grand a month in passive income by 45? You know, so that I have, you know, a bunch of money coming in. If I want to, you know, Jake's going to be 10 by then, like want to go to baseball games or, you know, like I want to be there. I want to be around. And so for me, real estate is the way to do it. It's the way to make it happen. It worked for me because I just followed the steps that I laid out. And just, so like in terms of the income thing, let me see if I can. In case a lot of you are just trying to like figure out like where you're at in the deal, I'm not an extravagant person. I have a nice car, but I don't drive a Ferrari. I could write a check for one, but I don't drive one, right? Like all of my money goes into real estate. Don't have a fancy watch. The watch that I have, it's an IWC. It's like a $4,000 watch. Grant gave it to me. Like I don't waste money on that stuff because I know that every dollar that I waste on something stupid could be 3 or 4x of that dollar over 10 or 15 or 20 years. So again, long-term focus. Like you've got to be committed to this thing long-term. So year one, I think with Grant, I made about 90K. Year two, I made like 204K. Year three, I was like just over 300. I think it was actually 290. 290. Year four was just like 350. Year five, year six, year seven, year eight. Then it started slowing down. I went to like 390 and then 420 or something like that. And then this was like 650. And then this year will be like 1.3. So like this was the trajectory that I had. I'm not counting my real estate investments in this, but this is the trajectory of income that I used to do it. So keep in mind, like those first investments I made in the first 4 years, the 800 grand that I made this year were from income at those levels. Living super frugal, like there, right here, year two, I slept on an air mattress still. Think about that, dude. Air mattress, $800 a month rent, $500 a month car payment. Like I was making 200 grand a year. I had $800 a month rent, $500 a month car payment. I wasn't going out. I wasn't spending a bunch of money. I wasn't being stupid. I was cheap. Like, and I continued that until I got married. You know, then you got to try to manage it for two people, right? But like this is the path. You just got to keep that income pumping because when the income comes, then you can put it somewhere and not worry about it and get money every month from it. Like it's like I have another job. Like this money, I don't think it's working as hard as I am, but all the money that I invest here, all that money's out working. It works every month. Like I just got checks today. You know, I'm sleeping, it's working. I'm traveling, going after chasing a deal, it's working. Like it's the coolest thing in the world to know that the hard work that you put in is being multiplied. Right now I think I'm in 7 deals with Grant. The hard work that I'm doing is being multiplied and I'm not having to do anything for it. So look, get smart with your money, get your income cranking, commit to something long term because you will always make better decisions if you do that. If I'm committed to my marriage long term, I'm going to make better decisions. If I'm committed to being a great father long term, I'm going to make better decisions. If I'm committed to investing long term, I'm going to make better decisions. Don't make mistakes with your career in life, dude. Don't make decisions for a weekend. Make decisions for the rest of your life. Like, make decisions that are long term because it's the best thing for you. You'll make better decisions that way. And then number 3 is, dude, you got to find a way to keep the risk as low as possible, right? You know, if like the 6% return, preferred return on the accredited fund, like, you know, maybe you could go somewhere and make 15% or 20%, but I promise you, you're not buying the same type of product. Your risk tolerance definitely needs to be higher. Like, you just have to know, like, where your comfort level is. And for me, all I know is I've got a long-term commitment because I seen what the long-term commitment does. I see what the long-term commitment does. Grant is super conservative. I'd never want to negotiate against him in a deal, number 1. Like, if I was selling him something or we were doing a deal together, dude, this guy is a master negotiator. I would never want to be on the wrong side of the table from him. I have him on my team with this, right? But I see what long-term commitment got him. I see what I see how buying deals ultra conservatively. I see the windfall that you can have on the upside. And I see how partnering with a guy who's doing amazing stuff like this, like what he's doing with Cardone Capital, what he's doing with the fund, he's doing things that they've never been done before in real estate. And so, you know, look, may not be for you, but it was the thing that made me rich. My income helped fuel the car, it put gas in the engine, but like making $800,000 this year and not having to work for it, like, dude, most people won't ever make $800,000 in a year in their life, right? So you just got to get sold on like the long-term play of this, and it'll change your life. It has for me for sure. My parents never had real estate investments. You know, a house was the only thing that they ever bought and owned, and I couldn't have learned this from anybody. Like, my parents couldn't teach me about this. My parents couldn't even expose me to it, right? But you don't need it. Like, you don't need your parents to teach you how to do this stuff. You don't need a degree. You don't need to go get a real estate license to learn how to do this. You can partner with people. And, you know, if not with Grant, somebody. I just know Grant's trustworthy. He's been doing it a long time. Like, he's been a winner for me. So, look, I hope that this helped you out understand. A lot of people reach out to me and they're always like, hey, man, how does this all work? How did it work for you? How did you get started? How much money were you making along the way? Because they're trying to basically put themselves into my situation and figure out if they need to make more money, if they need to put more money away, if they need to not spend as much money, right? And I hope that you can take what I've showed and shared today and you can kind of model that against your own situation, and you can get a better idea of how to kind of get on track to becoming a multimillionaire in real estate. Again, I don't know anything about this stuff. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I work really hard, and I was able to use the income from my job to fund these investments, and it's made me millions of dollars. You know, probably have $4 million of net worth in real estate, and you can do it too. You just got to focus. You got to get committed. You got to find good people to work with. And I think that you'll have very similar experiences with me. So, look, get to the Grant Cardone store right now. We have crazy deals going on. This is the last day that you can ship, I think, and get ground shipping to get to your house, depending on where you're at. If you want to expedite it to make sure it gets there, then make sure you get your 2-day shipping, 3-day shipping. We got a lot of really cool holiday merchandise in the store, and we got some 10X Growth Con seats. We got some new deals that just launched today. 35,000 people, February 1st, 2nd, 3rd here in Miami. Steve Harvey, John Maxwell, Russell Brunson, Damon John, Bethany Frankel, Sarah Blakely, Ryan Dice, Jesse Itzler. Dude, it's going to be unfreaking believable. We want to see you there here in Miami, 10X Growth Conference. How does he wrap the show up? Because I've got my little thing that I do for young hustlers. I almost went into it.
Good luck investing.
Good luck investing.
Boom, boom, boom.
30 years I've been investing in real estate. These are large multifamily apartment complexes around the United States that are cash flow positive when we buy them. 97% of my net worth is invested in these properties because I believe in them that much. For the last 12 months, I have been working with the SEC to provide non-accredited investors the opportunity to invest alongside me. If you like the idea of investing in real estate but don't have the time to manage it, you like the idea of investing cash into real assets but don't have time to find the deals, manage the deals, fund the deals. Maybe you don't even know where to start looking. And regardless of what your decision is, let me just say to you that the best financial advice I can give anyone today is what has worked for me. Look forward to you investing with us. I look forward to you being a partner. By the way, this is not a REIT. This is a real asset. You're a partner with me in the exact asset that we're buying. Okay? Good luck investing. My name's Grant Cardone. This is the Cardone Zone every day, every damn day. I'm going to show you how to get money a lot cheaper than this. Hey, get yourself in a position to sit in that chair right there. Are you the solution or are you the problem?
Yeah, well, we're talking about what does it take?
They don't know you, and they're not thinking about you. They do
forgot
know
you.
you, and they're not thinking about you.
They forgot you. My name's Grant Cardone. You are in the Cardone Zone where I wake you up, I shake you up, I punch you in the face. But mostly, I'm that good uncle.
What's happening, Grant Cardone?
Yeah, what's happening, man? You got a deal or you got a question?